On this site, what we really hope is that we'll see a thriving city farm. I love coming here because although it looks kind of derelict now, I feel like there's just so much potential. It's amazing that in the middle of a built-up area, there's all this kind of open space that we hope to use for the community.
Yeah, the history of the City Farm site is, the farm site is on Cornwallis Road, and to get our building permission, we had to have enough playing field space to get the building permission, and we took on that space as St Gregory Great playing fields, but we've never used them, and we don't need them.
Made this very scruffy model, in a way deliberately scruffy, because it's not a finished design. It's a consultation model, so all these bits are kind of loose because we wanted to use it to talk to people about where they thought things should go. So people were free to kind of say, well, I think the greenhouse should go over there, or I think the barn should go over there, and so on.
It'd be fantastic to have a city farm coming here, because what you'll end up with is a community hub. I mean, hopefully it'll even end up being a cafe here, meeting spaces here. It'll be a place where people come to gather, come to share ideas, as well as come and learn about the food, where it comes from, about how you grow it, all those sorts of aspects of it. And you know that even around here, there's a whole bunch of families, Florence Park Estate, full of young families, but there's no sense of cafe or anything like that.
So you can see it's actually really quite a large area. We've got lots of space to create with. The longer it's left derelict, the more rubbish seems to be getting left and dumped here. It's a bit of an eyesore for the people living in the care home. What we'd really like to create is something really beautiful for them to look out onto and for them to be a part of. There's lots of bramble to cut through, but we really hope that actually in that space we may have our main cafe and classroom building where people can drop in, have a cup of tea. Schools will come to take part in more formal learning. People can use the space for other kind of classes, yoga. There's so much that could be done on this space. We really want to make sure that anything that we build is going to be beautiful, but also a really adaptable, usable space for the community.
This would be the farmyard, and around the farmyard I've got three main buildings. This is a greenhouse, this would be a barn, and this would be a building with a small cafe and a classroom in it, and a kitchen and some loos and some admin and storage space.
It'd be really fun if there was a city farm, because then we could play with all the animals.
We hope that we will have animals, so classic farm animals, the smaller kind, so sheep and goats, maybe a pig, probably a visiting calf over the summer.
I'd like to see wolves, and I'd like to see bears.
The idea that there might be that sort of essence of clap, clap, clap going on around here, really, really lovely. I can imagine that some of the neighbours might be concerned if they got a rooster in. If they did, I am imagining also that some of them might buy an air rifle. But you know, that's just going to be one of the side effects of having a rooster here. It won't last very long.
Certainly the smaller animals are something that could come sooner rather than later.
The point is that the people organising this place, they're sensible about these things. You're not going to get a rooster, you're not going to get a herd of cows, and you're not going to get a whole bunch of smelly pigs right up against people's houses. You know, those things aren't going to happen. It will be appropriate use of livestock, educational use of livestock. It's not going to be generating vast quantities of food, meat and milk and things. It'll just be small amounts of stuff to illustrate the way that food can be produced in a wholesome and sustainable manner.
We do a lot of vocational work with young people, and we realise that it's respite for some students. It gives opportunities in possibly farming, possibly veterinary, horticulture, and we want to get young people interested in that. So we think the City Farm can provide that. We could have it as an educational space.
In the summer term, we could sometimes come here for like lessons to learn about wildlife.
I went to a farm to go and talk to my farm manager about setting up a city farm, and she was in a meeting and she asked this young lad to show us round, and he was a bit of a shy, kind of slightly shy teenager, But as soon as he started talking about the animals, he became so animated and could tell us so much about the individual animals, about their history, about what they produced and about their personalities. And I commented to the manager when I went into the meeting about this young man, and she said, you know what, he came to us a year ago on a work experience placement and he didn't say a word for 2 weeks. And except at the end of those 2 weeks, he said, please, can I come back? And that was it. And he's been coming every week since. And just that huge developmental kind of opportunity that working with animals has given him, I feel like it inspires me always, that story, and I really want the farm to be able to offer that to more people.
All around the outside would be a zone of spaces where stuff is grown. So along the bottom here would be sort of allotments and raised beds and things. Here would be a kind of a tree nursery. This would be an orchard area, and this part here would be a forest garden.
If you were to look at the land right now, it's brambles, weeds, bumps in the turf, and a strip of tarmac. It looks a little bit like a runway.
So we had a wonderful day here a couple of months ago building these raised beds. People came from the local community with amazing skills and energy. We had to cut back loads of brambles. We've had to dig out bramble roots. We're planning to graft quite a large number of fruit trees that we will plant around the community and on the farm site. The community orchard project has been developed really in a response to the fact that it's taken us so long to get actually onto this piece of land and get a lease on this piece of land. This one is our first fully finished endeavour. It's going to be for the rootstock for our trees for our community orchard. We've even taken a very permaculture approach to using the wood chips from a tree that fell in a storm to mulch down and cover to stop the brambles growing back through.
We've visited a lot of city farms across the country, particularly in London, and we've realised that they are complete community affairs really, and approaches to running the farm. It's a voluntary organisation often, and we are a charity, so we realise that we will be relying on the community to actually help us run it.
I think it's a project with a lot of soul. I think it could become a really nice part of the community. I think there's a lot of support for it.
Some of the city farms we've already visited, you can see youngsters being in buggies, being pushed around by their grandparents, looking at the animals. You can see some vulnerable young people and vulnerable adults working on the farm, and that's one of their venues during the day, and obviously is respite for them. So I think it really is a community project. If we're successful in getting a cafe and a shop on there as well, obviously it'll bring the community in to visit.
I think it could become a really important part of the community. Could be really good fun. I've really enjoyed working on it and thinking about it. I find it very challenging, very kind of enriching in every way.
Well, I'd say despite all our frustrations about how long it's been taking to get an agreement about a lease on this piece of land, there's never been a better time to be involved. It's such an exciting project. There are so many different ways that you can get involved. People are coming forward all the time, volunteering their skills and their expertise to take this project forward. And I would say, come, be in touch. It's really gaining a fantastic momentum, and there's such a great group of people involved, so come and be part of it.
Lucy is cool.
Thank you to all the people who have helped to get the city farm ready. Thank you very much. The best.